RT America has been on top of the environmental catastrophes which have popped up around the country, from Indian Point, New York to Flint, Michigan. California has also seen its fair share of problems as well. The governor there is now under massive pressure to step forward to help clean up a huge gas leak. RT's Brigida Santos is live in our LA newsroom to join us for more. Now let's start with Porter Ranch, where that methane leak has finally been capped. Have people who live near there started to return to their homes yet?
Yes, Lindsay, they have. Now, about 6,000 families were relocated, and luckily they have done so on SoCalGas's dime. So far, the gas company has paid about $300 million in lodging fees, so they're anxious to get people home, which means that they're giving most families 8 days to do so, and that's for people who have been staying, on day rates in places like hotels. For everyone else who may have a longer-term lease, they're allowing them to stay until April 31st, and after that, they've got to go home before the gas company will not pay for their fees anymore. Now, the gas company did show up in court this week. It was arraigned, and there it pled not guilty to those 4 misdemeanor charges brought against it by the city of Los Angeles. So we'll be taking keeping an eye on those court issues as they unfold, Lindsay.
Well, another area near LA that's also seen plenty of suffering is due to lead pollution, the poisoning of homes. Tell us what happened there and what's being done.
Yes, in Vernon, California, which is a southeast suburb of Los Angeles, there is an old battery recycling plant called Exide Technologies, and it was shut down last year, but for decades it had actually been poisoning homes, thousands of homes, in a mainly Hispanic community. Now, people in those communities have been calling on the state to take care of the pollution problem for years, but they have remained largely ignored until now. And that's because following the Porter Ranch gas leak, these communities rose up and they put more pressure on the state, saying it's unfair that you responded to Porter Ranch, a wealthy community, so quickly while ignoring our poor community. So Governor Jerry Brown has listened to these people. He's making a point to prove that California does value environmental equality. So he has put forward $176 million toward cleanup efforts. But the efforts in total are supposed to cost about $400 million. That's the estimate. So this first round of funding should hopefully clean up the 2,500 homes that have the most lead poisoning potential in them, as well as testing about 10,000 other homes in the area for their lead levels as well. Lindsay.
RT correspondent Brigida Santos reporting from our LA studio. Thank you very much. And a little more information on the Southern California Gas Company right now. It did plead not guilty yesterday to misdemeanor criminal charges stemming from that leak Brigida just told us about. Speaking to reporters outside the courthouse, a spokesperson said the company didn't believe the criminal prosecution had been warranted. Now, the complaint brought by the county includes 3 counts of failing to report the release of hazardous material and 1 count of discharge of air contaminants. If convicted, SoCalGas could be fined up to $1,000 per day for air pollution violations and up to $25,000 for each of the 3 days it failed to notify the State Office of Emergency Services.